Have you ever read a book that felt weirdly familiar? The FMC is an assassin who is frail and tiny. The MMC is a brooding, shadow-wielding prince. There's a high-stakes competition, and maybe even a murder. Well, I have, and it made me wonder, where is the line? If I'm reading the same tropes with the same characters and the same plot, eventually it stops feeling like a coincidence. In other words, when does inspiration become plagiarism? So I've picked out a few books that have been flagged for being too similar to books that came out many years ago, because I would like to find out for myself, are these just recycled ideas, or are they genuine tributes to the genre? We're gonna kick things off with a scandal, as if plagiarism alone isn't enough of a scandal. Basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is that we're starting it off with a really popular series. Powerless by Lauren Roberts and Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Red Queen came out in 2015. Powerless came out in 2023. I've already read Powerless and I ate this book up. However, I have heard Powerless is just a complete plagiarized version of the Red Queen. I haven't read the back of Red Queen, but I'm assuming it's going to follow a girl in a world with no powers, surrounded by people who do have powers. Oh, so she does have a power. That doesn't actually sound a whole lot like this. Wait, the Silver King is forced to hide the impossibility of her power and pretend she's a long-lost silver princess betrothed to one of his sons? Okay, so we do get a brother love triangle, maybe? I'm actually so excited for this series. So we're gonna dive in and we're gonna see what's going on here. Does the OG do it better? That is the question.
I'm halfway through Red Queen. I'm having a bit of a crisis. On one hand, I'm looking at Mare and I'm like, okay, she's pretty different from Payton. She has a family, for starters. She has powers, secondly. And her reason for ending up at the castle is very different from Payton's reason for ending up in the kingdom / castle. But the similarities cannot be a coincidence, I fear. For example, in Powerless, Payton has a Dina who is a seamstress. In Red Queen, Mare has a sister who is a seamstress. In both books, we have a bitchy side character. In Powerless, it's Blair. In Red Queen, it's Evangeline. We also have the same nice guy, castle bodyguard person. In Powerless, it's Lenny. In Red Queen, it's Lucas. And in both books, there's a brother love triangle. In Powerless, it's Kai and Kit. And in Red Queen, it's Cal and Maven. I will be honest, the love triangle in Red Queen is not as clear cut as the love triangle in Powerless was. In Powerless, you could tell that Kai was the love interest from the start. In Red Queen, I'm assuming that Cal is the love interest, but to be completely honest, I think I'm rooting for Maven. Either way, the dynamics and the characters definitely feel like they could have been the blueprint for Powerless. I'm starting to get a little concerned that the plagiarism claims actually have some merit. Yeah, I do fear that they might have something there. I'm gonna have to finish this and see how this plays out. Okay, time for me to go read. Bye.
I finished Red Queen and I'm an idiot. I truly did not see the plot twist coming. I thought I was seasoned in the romantasy genre, and Victoria Aveyard, she played me. If you read Red Queen, you know probably the exact moment where my jaw hit the floor. Should have seen that moment coming. I didn't. Comparing it to Powerless is a little bit of a toss-up. I do think that the romance aspect, I prefer Powerless. Mostly because Kai Azar is one of my top 5 book boyfriends and has been since the literal day I met him, and I am nothing if not a loyal woman. But in terms of actual plot and world building and originality, I definitely think that Red Queen
Queen is taking the cake. And here's my really hot take. I think that Red Queen might be the blueprint for every modern romantasy book. There are scenes and tropes in this book that I have seen in almost every single romantasy book that has been released that I have read in the last 5 years. And look, I'm not complaining. I'm gonna eat those tropes up every single time. I'm gonna eat those scenes up every single time. It's just very clear to me that Victoria Aveyard, I think, is a lot of people's favorite author's favorite author. She was ahead of her time with Red Queen in 2015, I do think. So with that being said, I'm gonna rate Red Queen 4 stars. I know Miss Victoria Aveyard has her first adult romantasy book coming out maybe this year. I will be paying my respects to her and I will be ordering that book with the quickness once it comes out. Victoria Aveyard is in fact that girl.
All right, next we're taking a pretty big genre leap. We're going from romantasy to thrillers. The next 2 books I'm comparing, The Last Mrs. Parish, published in 2017, and The Housemaid, published in 2022. I read The Housemaid last summer. I'd never read a thriller quite like it. I thought it was so original. I read this book and I said, Frida McFadden, you're a genius. But now I've got to find out if it's just a big fat copy of this book. I'm going into this book kind of skeptical because now I feel like I'm probably going to be able to see every twist and turn coming, which is a little unfortunate when you're reading a thriller. I don't know. We're going to see how these two hold up next to each other. Let's see if I've already read this book before. I'm a little over 70 pages in. I'm on chapter 14 of The Last Mrs. Parish. So I've met the main character, Amber Patterson. Amber has decided that she is done being a nobody and that she wants the life specifically of Daphne Parish. And Daphne Parish is this really rich trad wife, socialite. When I say she wants Daphne's life, I mean she wants her house. She wants her money. She wants, well, she doesn't really want her children, but especially and specifically, she does want Daphne's husband, Jackson, who is just like this big New York City Wall Street guy. And Amber's plan is really truly insane. It's a level of manipulation that I would literally never even imagine existed. She's like creating this fake persona and like fake being friends with Daphne in hopes that she's going to infiltrate her marriage and steal her husband away. Yeah. I'm really scared of her. It is pretty similar to The Housemaid. But with that being said, I am having a really good time. I'm gonna keep reading and we'll see where this goes. Not my best look. That's okay. I am 50%, a little over 50% technically, but I just got to part 2, which is from Daphne's POV. The first POV was from Amber's. And if I'm remembering correctly, that's also what happened in The Housemaid. But yeah, Amber is crazy. She's nuts and insane, and I'm so scared of her. Why aren't we picking another dude? You're in New York. Hey, you're in New York. There's 8 billion people there. I don't think there's 8 billion people in New York. My point was that there's a lot of fucking people in New York City, and I really don't understand why Amber is so obsessed with this one singular man. My next point is that I think Amber is stupid. I think that she thinks that Daphne is dumb, and I fear that Daphne is outsmarting and outwitting her. I am curious to see what happens. Now that it's switching POVs, I'm hardcore rooting for Daphne, because honestly, I'm sorry to say it, fuck Amber. And also, fuck Patrick. No, what's his name? Jackson. I'm gonna get through this second half, and I really hope that my Daphne is a genius theory plays out. So I finished The Last Mrs. Parish, and you know what that means. It's time to talk about it. Don't mind what's happening in front of me. I need to do my laundry. I hope you don't see any of mine or my husband's underwear. To be honest, guys, truly, really, honestly, it is the blueprint. Millie from The Housemaid sucks, but Amber is insane. It's an entirely different level of batshit insanity. And then we have the man of the hour, Jackson Parish. Surprise to absolutely no one, he also sucks. He has a superiority complex, he is misogynistic, he's violent, he's gross, and on top of that, guys, he's old. Amber, what are we doing, sister? I hate to say it, even though this is the original, even though The Last Mrs. Parish was written way before The Housemaid, I think I prefer the ending of The Housemaid better than the ending of The Last Mrs. Parish. There was still a few things that were up in the air. There's a second book that is supposed to round out the endings, I guess, but I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know if I want to read the next book. I really don't know that I care enough. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I think I'm gonna give this book a 3.5-star rating, mainly because Amber is so insufferable, and I kind of wish the endings would have been a little bit more rounded out. I wish there would have been a little more karma, and I don't want to have to read a second book to hear about the karma. On to the next series. We're gonna do things a little bit differently this go around. So far, I've been reading the original books and I've gone into the situation already having read the copy. But this time, I have already read the blueprint, which is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Now I'm going to read the supposed copy, which is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. So The Secret History is considered a modern day classic. It was published in 1992. Then we have If We Were Villains, which was published in 2017. Both of these books follow a tight-knit, isolated group who are very committed to their work and curriculum. In The Secret History, it's a group of students studying ancient Greek, and in If We Were Villains, it's a group of thespian students studying Shakespeare. Me personally, I consider The Secret History a masterpiece. I loved this book. It was an insane story, and I really did eat it up. So I am curious to see if this pales in comparison. I'm hesitant, but I'm excited because I really do love The Secret History, but I don't want it to be a complete ripoff because that would be obviously sad and unfortunate. I'm going to go ahead and start If We Were Villains, and I will check in later.
Cari and I are so synced up in our friendship. We are even moving at the same time. Let's pack.
Yeah, so my background's ugly, and that's just something that we're gonna have to deal with. I am halfway through If We Were Villains. To be completely honest, even though the premise of the story is a pretty much mirror image of the premise of the story in The Secret History, the way that the story is being told, it doesn't feel like an exact replica of The Secret History. To me. I will say that in The Secret History, I can't remember his name, but that guy was really annoying. He was really annoying and he was really stupid. But Richard? What is this guy's problem? Well, what was his problem? He had a serious stick up his ass. But yeah, I think that this book is proving that you can follow the blueprint, but still bring in some design elements to make the house feel like yours. I will check back in when I finish the book and we'll go from there. See you in a little bit, people.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I finished the book.
Before I give my full review, I do feel like there is an important disclaimer that I need to make, and that is that I have a bachelor's degree from a music school, so I am dramatic and I am insane. And I'm saying that because I think that that's playing a big role in my feelings towards this book. I will always love The Secret History. It is a beautifully written classic. It is complex, it's dry, and I don't think anybody is ever gonna outdo the doer in that sense. But If We Were Villains is so fast-paced and so emotional, because theater kids, right? There was like this slow descent into insanity. The intensity of the feelings that you could feel radiating off of the characters, and the fact that the characters' development was tied into the roles that they were playing on stage. It's so dramatic, but it is so good. While it did feel similar in some aspects, it didn't feel like I was reading a copy-paste. It almost feels like a not YA version of The Secret History, but it feels like this might be easier to digest. With that being said, I'm gonna give this book a 5-star rating. It was great, what can I say? Moral of the story is you can take inspiration and you can use a story to kind of help outline yours without making it feel like a copy paste, and this book does that beautifully. And those are my thoughts. And I don't think I have anything else left to say. So that's all then. See you next time.